Good morning everyone, it's Joanne Fedler here of SpoonFed Writing Tips, and I thought I would just share today a little technique that helps me when I get stuck with my writing and I just can't take it anywhere. On days when I'm not sure where to start and what I really want to write about, I do some free writing, or as I call it, dream writing. And it's a very simple process, and what it does is it helps us to unlock some of the right brain activity that can sometimes be stuck when we're in a very left brain mode. So the idea is to take an actual pen and an actual piece of paper, so to put away any laptops and anything else that is a screen, and to sit somewhere quietly and put on the clock for 2 to 5 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes, depending on how long you want to go for. And the idea is to start with a writing prompt and to keep your hand moving on the page for the entire time that the clock is running. So you set the timer, you start going, and you start with your writing prompt. So say, for example, your writing prompt is, I remember, and you just keep writing that writing prompt out. I remember, I remember, I remember, without thinking too much about it until something happens. And then you just write down whatever happens, and then when you've run out of stuff, you just go back to the writing prompt, I remember, and you keep going and you keep going until the clock tells you that the time is up. Then what you do is you go back and you reread what you have written with a highlighter, and you simply underline or highlight words or phrases that jump out at you that you really like for no particular reason. And the next stage is to then get some little bits of colored paper like this and to write each phrase or word on a separate piece of paper. Now, I know this seems like quite a lot of work and it seems like a craft activity, but actually it's a very, very helpful writing activity, as I have found. What happens when we write is that our brains can get a little bit confused and we can overthink things, and that can create a bottleneck in our creativity. Stephen Pressfield, who's written some really great helpful books on writing, one of which is Do the Work, that's the name of the book, he says that when we write, there are two things that happen. We write, and that's called action, and then we think about what we've written, and that's reflection. And he says that we must never act and reflect at the same time. And that's a lot of times when I'm stuck, that's what I'm doing. I'm overthinking, I'm reflecting on what I'm writing about. So we have to separate out the acting and the reflecting. Know when you're doing the one, stop, and then do the other. I think that's just quite a helpful thing. It certainly helps me. And this dream writing activity, where you are literally just acting, it certainly unlocks a kind of a flow in your writing that you might not be able to access. You know, for example, if you're thinking about the title of my book, what should the title of my book be? And we're trying to be clever and we're trying to think of cute puns or clever metaphors. Sometimes that really doesn't work because it's a bit of a try-hard activity. But when we do the dream writing and we're just going with a flow and we're not thinking about it and we're coming literally through the back door of thought, stuff happens on the page and it's often quite magical. So at the moment, I'm writing a book about parenting teenagers, which I've been working on for about 18 months. And I was really trying to come up with a good title for it, because it's not a how-to book. I'm not a parenting expert, I'm just a mum. And I really just wanted to offer some of the insights and mistakes that I have made in a way that is helpful to other people. So when I was battling with a title, I did some dream writing about what, and my prompt that I used was, what is this thing about? What am I writing about, and why am I writing this book? So I did a whole lot of writing on it, and at the end, I did my little, I found my little perfect phrases, my golden phrases out of my dream writing, and I came out with words like love, with teenagers, dealing with contempt, and somewhere else in that dream writing exercise was the word consolation. And I shuffled these together somehow, and the title that I came out with was Love in the Time of Contempt, Consolations for Parents of Teenagers. And I don't think that that title would have come out of me thinking too hard about it. So I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, please pass it on to somebody else that you think it might be helpful to, or you can subscribe to my YouTube channel called SpoonFed. Otherwise, just go do some writing, and I hope you have a really successful and inspiring writing day. Thanks.